Yo, what up guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna do a tier list of characters that need buffs, nerfs, should stay the same, rework, or a new move. And this is before they do the final changes in Evo. And without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so the first character is Lui Kang. I think Lui Kang needs a new move. I feel like his game plan is very one-dimensional. Every time I go against Lui Kang, it's super boring. It's just forward 4, grab. He's got good zoning, and that's about it. He was kind of boring in MK11 too, but at least he was more fun because he had like the ninja stance. What move I would give him is like some stance move. Kung Lao needs a new move. He has no buzzsaw, he has no orbiting hat, and he has no ancestors, right? I feel like he needs one of them because that was kind of like his 3 variations in MKX, and that was also the 3 variations you could choose from in MK11. Sindel needs nerf. I would make her armor mid, and I would also make forward 1 a straight up high, because she has forward 4, which is already a 2 hitting mid. Forward 1 is really good, and the first 2 hits are high, and you still can't microduck it. I think their intention was to microduck it, so I think they should just make forward 1 just straight up a high, because you can't really nerf the setups that Sindel does with Lao and Tremor. If you nerf Tremor and Kung Lao, that's gonna nerf other characters that go well with Tremor and Kung Lao. By keeping the broken setups but nerfing her moves drastically would be fair. Li Mei, she got her buffs. I don't think they overbuffed her, and I don't think she's bad, so stay the same. Next is Shao. Shao can stay the same. I don't mind a Shao. I'm gonna put Raiden. I'll put him in buff for now. Geras needs a nerf. So it's 1 bar to get the hourglass, right? That's fine. But it's meterless to break out of the combo. I think that should cost 1 bar. Make the snap thing meterless, right? Because it's just down back, it's just quarter circle back 3. But to break out of the combo, it's quarter circle back 3 or 2, right? Maybe that should cost a bar. So it's 2 bar breaker. And the thing is, you're separating the times you use the bar. You're not using 2 bars at once. You're using 1 bar to get the hourglass and 1 bar to break. I think that's fair. Katana could use a small buff, actually. I think Melina should stay the same. Tanya, I want her just to stay the same. I don't want her getting another buff or nerf. Scorpion needs a nerf. 100%. Sub-Zero is, I guess, stay the same. Reptile, stay the same. Smoke needs a nerf, I think, in my opinion. I think they should make it so invisibility goes away and block. I hit him, and he blocks it. I think the invisibility should be just gone, just like Reptile. Rain, I'll put him in buff. I would buff the moves that are useless. I feel like they should do something about the portals, because I feel like when you go against the Rain, all they do is just back 3 cancel, and then with a setup. Havik needs a nerf. The quarter circle back 2 launcher needs to be a mid, but I think they should also bring back the tether. At launch, he wasn't much of a mixed character, and they made him way too much of a mixed character, let's be honest here. I think is he still has mixed alpha back 2, and that's like really good still. Johnny Cage needs small buff. I would just put his HP back at 1,000, that's all I would do, that's it, nothing else. Kenshi could use a buff. Buff Kenshi. Do not buff Sento. The thing that makes him bad is Kenshi himself. He should have some safety of going back into stance, I think, going back into his regular form. So I feel like Kenshi is very underwhelming until he has Sento out. Baraka needs a rework. They should also do that overhead cancel that they were gonna do, but they never did. He could use a new move, or he could use a rework. It's one of these two, so I'll put him here. Ashrah needs a nerf, dude. Holy freaking moly. I would nerf her armor, dude. Her armor is so stupid. The fact that it absorbs like more than 2 hits, they should just make it absorb only 1 hit, you know what I mean? It should be a hard knockdown too. Full combo with Movado is so dumb. The range and mix-up make her stupid already. Shang Tsung and some buffs, bro. I have a list of buffs that I want to give Shang, so I'm going to put it in the end of the video. Nitara needs a rework, 100%. After this tier list, I'm going to show you some ideas that I have on screen, just to show you what I would change. I'm only going to do it for some characters because I don't play a lot of these characters. Reiko needs a freaking nerf. They should make the running command grab 2 bars. 2 bars or a high. Omni-Man could use some buffs. I would make 4-3 safe. I don't know what I would change about Omni-Man, but he struggles. Quan Chi needs some buffs. I have a whole list of buffs that I want to give him, and I'm going to show you guys in the end, because this is my main character. Peacemakers, ooh, stay the same. Ermac, ooh, Ermac, nerf. I would nerf the scaling of the puppet combo. Maybe I would nerf some of the active frames from the cancels, because there's such a small window. I think they should increase that window. Homelander, obviously. When he goes into the second overhead, when you do the instant overhead flight, and then you do the dash into another overhead, that one should be unblockable. I don't think it should be a true double overhead string. But Takeda actually does need a nerf. They should reduce the hitbox of back 2 because it does anti-air people, and it kind of triggers me because like I jump over your back 2, but when he slams that down, it actually stops the anti-air. It stops the jump in. They should just remove that and, you know, make back 2 a more grounded tool for whiff punish. So, yeah, these two need to go here. Stay the same. Ghostface. I would make back 3 less plus, so you have more time, so there's a bigger gap for armoring. I would make it like +4 or something like that, like Conan. Like Conan's restand is a +4. I think it should be +4 instead of like +15. Conan can stay the same. I think he's fine. Alright, so this is my tier list. Alright guys, so I made some small changes and now this is my final tier list right here. I believe I put Kitana down here because I feel like her whole game plan is back 2, sweep, and zone. Also, I believe I put Raiden down here in rework, and the thing about rework is that there's things about them that don't make them a good character, but there's some things about them that make them stupid in my opinion. So let's like tone back the things that make them stupid, and like the things that don't make them good, let's make them better. I also put Kung Lao up here in Nerf. Although Kung Lao could use a new move, I also think his back 3 string does need a nerf. Maybe make one of those options safe and the other one not. His back 3 low safe, and just make his back 3 4 just straight up unsafe. Just so they're more hesitant to go for the unsafe option. But to confiscate Kung Lao's back 3 nerf, I would give Kung Lao a new string where Kung Lao can hit confirm back 2. For Sektor, I would say nerf for armor, so there's more risk, less reward, I guess. And Scorpion, I did not provide much context earlier. Let's make back 3 safe, right? So you think it's a buff at first, but instead of mid-low, make that a mid-high. You can micro-duck the back 3, but obviously if you duck the high, you cannot cancel it into Farah. And for Baraka, I would make the animation for down forward 2 1 hit if they block it. So on hit, he does the regular animation for down forward 2, so Baraka Kano no longer exists. But to confiscate that, we should just give him a new move. Down forward 2 should be nerfed, but the other things he has should be buffed. Alright, so now on to the buffs. So the first character I want to buff is Quan Chi, right? He's my main character. I'm gonna be very fair about this, alright? What makes Quan Chi good, right? His portals, right? Does that mean we should make them even better? No. I don't think his portals need buffs. I think the character himself needs buffs. I think the thing that makes him bad are what needs buffs. So, number 1 is health. At least give him 950 like Geras. Or better yet, just give him 1000. Like, no one in this game should have 900 health. Like, and this goes for Nitara players too. Because you got characters with 1100 health. 900 should not exist. Second thing is a sweep. This is 0 on block, but he has no plus frames. This should be his only plus frame move. I would make it +3, I would say, to confiscate for his horrible down 1. The second change I would do is to make this safe. I think this should just be like -6 or something like that. Why is this -13? This is so dumb. Another thing I would do is just make this a mid. And let me show you guys something. Alright, so when Quan Chi does this combo right here, right? Look. See? I can just jump out of it. He doesn't get a meaty bone cage. Like Shang Tsung gets meaty ground skulls. See? And right there, so right there I delay get up. And I can still jump over that, right? But I would make so you can get a meaty bone cage when you end your combo with this, or when you end your combo with this. And yeah, that's about it. Alright, so on to the next character. We got Shang Tsung here. I do think he needs some buffs. So the first buff I would give him is this move. It's just like Raiden, you know? Like, you can cancel it and she's still standing. So it's gonna be hard to explain, because look at this. So, right, you get this. There you go. I think they should rework that. So basically after this, you can do this. Come on, man. That's fair. The second change I would do, so you know how like Noob and Reiko's overhead, it kind of launches the opponent a little bit, so with certain cameos you can extend it? I think you should just do it for Shang too. Another change I would do is just to make that safe. But the second hit's a high. Because you can do this, mid, high. And he doesn't really have any launchers in young form, so I would just make this a high. Now another move I would do, so one of his best staggers is this move right here, right? You don't complete the string, you do something like this, or you can complete the string and then you do that, right? So this stagger right here is -6. I would make this -2. You know, the mind games are stronger, so you can do like, stuff like that, right? Another change I would make is to make this plus. I think this should be plus. His only plus move is this move right here when he's in old form, but he has no plus frames in young form. I would just make this like +1 or something like that. Another change I would do, I would make this less minus. This is a really good spacing tool, right? But the thing is, if I do like regular ground skill, which is like from this, people can punish this. I think this should be like -12. So you can punish this up close, but you can't punish it if I'm like right here. Next up is Nitara. You remember at launch when Nitara was a low tier character? So what did they do? They buffed the heck out of dive kick, which is probably the worst buff you could have given her. EX dive kick and regular dive kick should not be safe. If they don't block this one, it launches them. Right, let's keep it that way, because that would just mess up her combo routes again. People would have to like figure them out. So basically, if you want to go for YOLO dive kick, there is 0 point in going for the EX version. You just have to go for the regular version. Now for the rework part. More health. Now, you know how like Xiao has that move where he can extend the combos from a low starter or from any starter. You can cancel and extend the combo. I think she should do the same thing from this move right here. If this is no longer safe anymore, so she can't do that anymore. And then like this combos, right? Another buff I would give her, have the install to do the projectile. I just think they should just give her a projectile without install. First of all, this projectile is garbage. Why does she need an install for this? Another buff I would give her is to make this meterless. So when you do this combo, right, then you spend a bar right there. Alright, so on to Lui Kang right here. Here's the first change I would make. This move right here, I want that move to be used more, right? The only thing you're gonna see Lui Kang do is this, and this. That's it. Like, and then obviously this. But let's change that, right? Let's give him a back 2-2 that he can hit confirm, right? So he can do like back 2-2, and if he sees a hit, he can go into this. This is kind of like MK11 where he had back 1, a 9 frame mid that he can hit confirm off to bicycle kick. Now, another change I would make to them. You know how you can do this? Obviously, everyone knows that you can, you know, do that. Let's make it so it doesn't work anymore. So now that happens. And so let's make it so like you have to spend full cameo to get the grab combo, right? Movado Mine, Sektor, homing missile. So you can still get grab combos, but you can't do this Nitara stuff anymore. Another thing I would do is to give him a stance where he goes into like the Shaolin stance from MK11. He can go to like maybe an overhead. I just want to see Lui Kang's do more strings. And yeah, that's what I would do to Lui Kang. Now for T1000, one change I would do, up block. Another change I would do, make that a mid. So this string right here is really good, right? You can go into a 3-way mix. See where I floss block? So let's put a gap there where you can armor out of, so you don't have to guess the 3-way mix. Or I guess 2-way mix, right? So if they were to make the spikes so low, right? Onto Raiden, the one thing I would change about Raiden is this thing right here. They should make it so like this only anti-airs. But then again, how are you gonna get a launcher? How are you gonna get like a 1-bar launcher off of this? What I would do is I would nerf the damage, the combo scaling off of this move into your, you know, your typical bread and butter. Will now do the same exact damage as if you were to do this. Same exact damage. Another thing I would buff is EX projectile. I would make it so like, I don't know. I would just do something about it. I would just give it some properties, I guess. Another thing you could use is amplified teleport, 1 bar, right? So like if you want to spend 2 bars, teleport, right? You do that. Or you can spend 1 bar by holding whatever direction you want to go. So if you want to hold back, you spend 1 bar and then you teleport backwards, like, you know, like kind of like Mataro, kind of like what he did in MK11. Alright, before I end the video here, I'm gonna go into some wild changes that I want to happen, but maybe shouldn't happen. If there's one character that I want to see go through that Havik phase again, where they just become from low tier, from being top tier, it's gonna be Shang Tsung. And here's the things that I would do to make him top tier. So the one thing about the old form is down back 3, the syringe, right? And I think this, what the syringe is some sort of poison, right? I'm assuming that he injects in his opponent. See that little green things that he has around the opponent? What if that lasts longer and it actually did something? Which kind of makes sense, right? Maybe it did like damage over time, kind of like Sektor's flamethrower. So like maybe like for like 3 seconds they lose health, or like they move a little slower or something like that. I think that'll be a cool change. Another change is this. And then that combos. If I do the teleport and I can get a full combo, that would make him top tier, I think. Now the second character that's low tier, and something I could do to make him top tier, is Omni-Man. The 2 flying characters in this game are Homelander and Nitara, right? Homelander, like when he flies, it's because he wants to do the overhead on you, right? To mix you up. When Nitara does it, it's to find a whiff punish. What if like Omni-Man had something similar to that? Right, so this move right here is his flight move. This move right here, like a bootleg air basketball from MK1. This became a jump attack, right? So let's just say they were pretend they were blocking, and then you can get a full combo just like that. It could make him really OP, but then again, it would make sense. He probably has the strongest flight. Like if it's Omni-Man versus Nitara, like in the sky, like Omni-Man would destroy Nitara. In neutral, like he's very grounded. Like you're not gonna see like Omni-Man's like fly in your face. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video, and bye.